Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Racha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the Great Millstone, who do rule and teach well. Peace and blessings, salutations, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Barakatham, to the sincere Akim, lawyers in this gospel abroad, keeping the faith, diligence, and testimony of our Lord Yahushai, occupying the prophecies until our Lord come, and to the few sincere Aquath that listen and learn as well. As always, to you I say shalom. So, want to just do this quick, brief lesson real quick. Going into, again, the signs of the times. Plagues are hitting the earth. Nations are raging, all right? The heathen is just out of control. You know what I'm saying? And this is why, we chant down Babylon the Great every single day, all right? And you Akim wa Akwath, all right? You should be throwing up curses on Babylon the Great and the heathen daily, all right? Because we see that the Lord is answering our prayers, man, but, we got to continue to continuously petition the Lord to deliver us from the hands of these heathens, man. All right, because the way that they going on the earth, things are about to set to get real bad. All right, so we need new rulership on this earth, all right, to benefit, life and the Lord's creation once again. All right, because these heathen ain't it, man. So I want to start off with this article right here from Newsweek. And this is more to show you what time we in. Okay? So all the scoffers, all those that detract, all right, come up against the man of the Lord, come up against the truth, they all about to be silenced. All right? Because these prophecies are speaking, man, loud and clear. So right here, Trump executive order could debank millions of Americans what to know. It says here, a Trump administration executive order that will require banks to collect citizenship information from customers is in process. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Monday as experts warn it could leave millions of Americans without access to a bank account. Why don't we have information on who's in our banking system? And see, this all goes into the digital ID. This all goes into ultimately bringing in biometrics to verify that you are who you say you are. You know what I'm saying? And this is an executive order, so they looking to push this thing through ASAP. And this is all in the midst of what? This Iran war. All right, which is basically, we're in the beginning stages of World War III. And we know that before this war breaks out nuclear and before things really escalate to the highest level, that the MOTB, the mark, must come first. And this is what these devils are preparing to bring forth, man. And see, these executive orders, these things were already outlined within the Genius Act that, Trump signed last year. Okay, now they're at the point where they're ready to implement this thing. You see? Let me see here. Yeah, why don't we have information on who's in our banking system? So they want to know. They want to know who's who, which, eventually, when they come with this digital currency, they'll be able to fully control all the money. You know what I'm saying? But before they do that, there's going to be a financial collapse in which they're going to justify moving over into this digital system. And it's going to be tied to who you are. Biometrics. I have a place in the UK. They want to know who lives in every apartment. And how do we know that it's not part of a foreign terrorist organization, see? So in the name of basically peace and safety is how they going to bring this thing in, okay? Because they going to do cyber attacks on the grid. All right, shit is going to shut down. And when they ready to bring stuff back online, the requirement is going to be, well, in order to ensure, all right, that our systems are safe and that we are allowing the right people to use these services, we are going to need digital ID. We're going to need biometrics, which meaning they're going to need to scan your iris, all right, scan your palm, all right, scan your arm vein, Okay, these are all things that are unique to you as a person. All right, these are things you cannot fake. That's why they want to go this route, man. Okay, but ultimately this is the beast system that's being set up right before your very eyes. Okay? This is what John the Revelator saw on the island of Patmos, and these things are coming to pass in our time now, because ultimately the visions that the prophets had of the last days, they didn't really understand what was going on. All right, but it wasn't for them to understand, you know what I'm saying? Because the visions that they saw, which were prophetic, it was for us in these times to be able to break these things down and make sense of what's going on. All right, they just described what they saw to the best of their ability, but they really didn't understand like the ins and outs of what they were being shown. All right, so through the Spirit now, you know, the Lord has given us even a greater understanding. All right, to be able to break down current events than even the prophets of old, which, you know, really the prophets of old are back today. All right, so it's really everything coming back full circle. But the point is, these things were prophesied thousands of years ago, and here we are now in today's time seeing these things unfold, and this should be a faith booster to you Aki and Waakwath out there, all right, that have been following the ministry. All right. That's another point here. Yeah, check this out. Right here. Access to the American banking system is a privilege that should be reserved for those who respect our laws and sovereignty, he said. When individuals are allowed to open accounts without verifying legal status, we are permitting illegal aliens to establish financial routes and integrate economically, all while bypassing the legal channels that millions use properly. So like I said, in the name of peace and safety, law and order, which is all BS, all right, because Esau cares nothing about those things, all right, because he's the very one that's bringing the chaos to bring about this right here that he wants to do. But see, these devils are going to do it because it's all according to prophecy. See, everyone on this earth right now are prisoners of prophecy, man. Okay? Whatever role that the Lord got you set up to fulfill, you have to fulfill that. You don't have a choice, you know? However, banking experts have warned that this order would also affect a significant proportion of Trump's own supporters. But you think these devils give a damn? You know? They don't give a damn about MAGA, and they showing you that every single day. So that's the least of their worries. Stripping Republicans of their banking accounts while doing little to push the needle on money laundering and fraud schemes. What the executive order would do. According to reports, the order would require banks to request various identification documents from customers who wish to maintain their accounts. So if you have an existing bank account, right, you're going to be required to go through these certain protocols. All right. So in order to maintain your bank account, not even open one, but to maintain it, to keep it open and to have your money and do what you do, you see, you're going to, have to get in line with this system. Okay. And see, this is why faith is so important, man. So this is why, we're a faith-based ministry. Okay. Because you can know all the scriptures in the world. You can, quote from Genesis to Revelation. But, if you ain't got faith, then what good is it? All right. Because the scriptures say that knowledge puffeth up. So a lot of people, just because they know a lot of scriptures, that gives them some sense of, behind that guy. Because, I can quote 200 scriptures off the top of the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lord is not looking at that, man. All right. The Lord is looking at, do you believe? All right. Are you sincere in your belief? All right. Are you doing this for the right reasons? That's what the Lord is looking at. Okay. So a brother that may only know 5 to 10 scriptures, but has an abundance of faith, the Lord is going to favor him over, the next brother that may know, 1,000 scriptures, but really don't believe. You know what I'm saying? So faith is very important because we're going to have to walk away from this world, man. All right. And it's going to happen a lot sooner than what you may believe. Okay, which, again, if you've been watching, all right, the shows that brothers have been doing, bringing it out, then you should well know what time that we in, to where these things are all set up to come forth, man. All right. So if you want to maintain, all right, who wish to maintain their accounts, which could be anything from passports to birth certificates, in order to check citizenship, reports state that this will apply to both new and existing customers, although the details of the order are not yet clear, such as exactly what documents will be needed, how banks will handle individuals with unclear or missing records, or whether exceptions will be allowed for vulnerable populations. That's another point I want to get out of here. Citizenship. Yeah. It says here, meanwhile, Singapore requires banks to record nationality as standard customer data, and for high-risk clients to verify current and previous citizenships under Monetary Authority of Singapore guidance, while Canada and Australia similarly require banks to verify nationality using passports or citizenship documents. And that's the old way, right? What they about to do now is they're about to go digital. Okay, and remember this right here. Okay, what had happened last year, right? This is from September 21st, 2025, and bros went into this when it occurred. All right, banking purge. Vietnam freezes 86 million accounts for non-compliance with new biometric requirements. So what happened out there in Vietnam late last year was that the Vietnamese government, they pretty much froze everybody's bank accounts, okay? Because prior to them freezing the accounts, there was an order, all right, pretty much the same thing that this administration is going to do, right? They basically put out an executive order that said, if you want to maintain your bank account, this is in Vietnam, that if you want to maintain and keep your bank account, that you must sign up for digital ID and biometrics, okay? That's what came down the pipe in Vietnam. And because a lot of people didn't opt into it, they didn't sign up for it when the government wanted them to, they pretty much pulled the plug and said, all right, if y'all don't want to comply, that's why it says here for non-compliance, all right, if y'all don't want to comply to these mandates, well, we're going to freeze your ass out. You know what I'm saying? You ain't about to get no money. Your ass going to be out here, okay? So they froze 86 million bank accounts in Vietnam, and the only way that they could get their bank accounts back is if they complied to the new mandates, okay, which meant signing up for digital ID, biometrics, okay? And that's the first step. That's how they reel you in. But see, really where they want to go is they want to get you underneath the skin. You see? They want to be in your head. They want to be inside your body, man, so that they can ultimately have full control over you. That's what they want. You see, but when you deal with the devil works in gradual stages. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't just about to drop it all on you at one time, because he understands he'll get more pushback like that. You know, so what he does is he gradually eases you into it so that you become more and more.
Your internet bill is lying to you. Here's how to slash it instantly. It's simple. No more cable.
Fuck? Hold on, man. What?
You know, so what he does is he gradually eases you into it so that you become more and more comfortable over time. Then he come and drop the hammer. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing that Esau been doing. You know, since 2020, what have they been doing? They've been getting you used to not using cash. You know what I'm saying? During the pandemic era, they brought about all this contactless payments. You know, a lot of places stopped taking cash altogether because it was seen as dirty money, right? A lot of businesses went cashless, you know what I'm saying? Because why? They're trying to enter into this all digital world, and that agenda has been accelerated since the onset of the 2030 agenda, which happened back in 2020, you see? So this, you know what I'm saying, the whole world is going digital, man. It's not just the West. As you see here, Vietnam was on the same type of time. The whole world, as we show you, is going into this beast system. All right, which that's the one thing that these nations do agree on. They all do agree on, okay, we need to bring in this digital future, right? But they agree at the top, the elites, over who's going to control what, over who's going to, have, what resource and all this different type of stuff, which, really don't matter, because all these heathen are going to be taken down and go in slavery. So it's really, as it says in Psalms 2:1, why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing? Because what they're imagining is vain. All right, because this is their new Tower of Babel, to where they want to overcome judgment and the Most High. But it's not going to happen. Okay? And this is why they're taking away the food as well. We'll get into that. They're taking away the food. They're taking away the jobs. All right? They're destroying the farmer. Anybody that's self-sufficient, they want to take that power away from you, so that you have to opt into this system. Okay? You have to see the spirit where all this is going. All right, so now let's play this right here from Dabu 7, okay? Because, like I mentioned before, the plagues are hitting the whole earth, all right? But especially here in Babylon the Great, man, because the Lord has his eyes set on this place to be destroyed, So this here is from Dabu. Let's check this out.
We have some fresh warnings here about the food supply, and that there is indeed going to be a supply shock. The people being told about this, but whether they're preparing for this or not is another story. We have multiple things lining up here that are going to affect the harvest this year, and just the food, period. As the LNG chief here, Pablo Escobar, what a name, right? He warns that this cutback in fertilizer en masse and this Gulf energy shock is going to develop into a food crisis that we've never seen, saying that we are...
So tell me that we're not in a time of Jacob's trouble. Tell me that we're not in that time, man. You see what's going on? That this manufactured crisis, all right, that the elites have brought on, all right, through their wicked left-hand agenda, this is how they're going to destabilize, because really this whole Iran war is meant to destabilize world markets, all right? Pretty much take people away from being self-sufficient. That's why they're taking away the fertilizer, you know what I'm saying? And that's why they destroying the jobs, and they try to make everybody go all digital, man, so they can be tracked and traced, But we're about to enter into this season where there's about to be a full-blown food and energy crisis, and both of those things go hand in hand, because once you have an energy crisis, because you think about it right now, America, they're using the reserves, okay, but those reserves ain't gonna last forever, and a lot of those reserves that they're using it to put into their war vehicles. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that, the Pentagon is using a lot of those reserves for themselves. So that's why come May 1st, they said that they're gonna start watering down the gas to E15 now, which is going to cause even more problems for the average Babylonian, because it's going to mess up a lot of engines, all right? A lot of cars are going to start failing, you see what I'm saying? And people are already squeezed, so they ain't got the money to, get their car fixed. And if your car break down, well, you can't get to work, all right? You can't travel, you can't do a lot of stuff. So these devils, all right, are going to kill multiple birds with one stone. You know what I'm saying? But that's why the scriptures say as well, in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, in verse 22, because these things are going to happen all of a sudden. Because they're not going to make an announcement and say, hey, food is going to run out next week. They're not going to come out and tell you that. These things are going to happen all of a sudden. And guess what? This is why the watchmen are on the scene, to let you know what's coming down the pipe. All right, because you Akim and Akwaf, you know that, yeah, these things are going to happen. You know, so as we tell you, you know, just be wise, all right? Get you some extra water. Get you some extra, you know, non-perishable stuff that you can have put to the side so that when all hell breaks loose, you don't have to be out in the midst of the chaos and the violence and everything that's going on to try and get your hands on some things. Just be prudent in this time, all right? That's what we tell you. You know what I'm saying? But these things are going to happen all of a sudden, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're going to wake up one day and you're going to go to the market and what you used to seeing in there, it's not going to be there. And, you know, how do you think people are going to react to that are not paying attention to what's going on? The scripture tell you in 2 Ezra 16 that they shall not be mindful of the scourges. So people are out here going about their daily routine, going to work, you know, going and doing whatever they do, and they not even aware that the food is drying up. They're not even aware that farmers are being adversely affected by this war. And really, they don't care, because as long as they can get what they need when they want it, that's not on the forefront of their mind. But it will be when these things happen to them all of a sudden. This is 2 Ezra 6:22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. See that? So all the sown places are going to appear unsown very soon. Meaning that it's going to go from abundance to scarcity all of a sudden. All right, because it don't take long. All right, because once gas runs out, or once diesel gets high enough, the trucks are gonna stop moving anyway. So all the traffic on the roads, and then they going we've gone into it to where they gonna start doing travel restrictions to where you can't drive beyond a certain radius. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't drive over a certain speed limit. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to cut down and ration the fuel. So a lot is about to stop, man. A lot is about to stop. And that's why, because as we speak right now, there's not that much traffic coming into these ports, man. Quiet as kept. They're not blasting it on the news, but the ports are not as active as they once were. And that's been going on for quite some time, but especially now it's getting worse because of the choke point that's happening over there with the Suez Canal and the Strait of Hormuz being completely blocked. All right? So these things are going to happen all of a sudden. Verse 24, Salaki, verse 23, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. And why is this going to happen? Because of what? Lack of bread, famine, and great tribulation. This is why people going to be fighting one another, man, because why? It's going to be survival of the fittest in that day. Okay? So people are going to revert, all right, to their, savage, animalistic nature, man. And it's going to be, shit, better you than me, you know? Somebody see that you got something that they want or that they need, then guess what? They coming to take that shit, bro. They ain't trust me, all right? Especially in that time, because it's not going to be no 911 to keep law and order. So people going to be doing what they want to do. As the scriptures say, that the course of their actions shall stand in their power. They're going to be emboldened to go out and do things that they would normally do with the intact society when everything breaks down. And they show you this in the movies, of course, because Esau knows that once he pulled the plug, that's going to be the reality out here. You know? So back to the video.
We're on borrowed time. That every day that this trade remains closed and every day production does not come back, we're building a problem for the future. He says that we're transferring from the energy side into many different sectors, with the food sector being one of the most important ones. He continued by saying that this is not sustainable, that this energy crisis will become a food crisis very soon. He also added that even if Hormuz was open today, it would still take 3 to 5 months to get everything back to fully recover. That's where we sit right now with...
See? So even if they was to stop the war, say, you know what? Everybody, let's just go home. Let's just go home. Let's just call it quits and shake hands and just, go about our business. No. That's not going to happen. All right? But even if it did happen, as you heard Dabu say, it'll take, at the minimum, 3 to 5 months just to get everything back on track to how it was before the war. So basically, in other words, the damage has already been done. There is no reversing it. How many bases have been destroyed? How many oil refinery plants have been destroyed? How many desalination plants have been destroyed already? How many lives have been lost? There is no going back to normal, man. This is the beginning of sorrows that our Lord Yahweh Shah told us of.
No end in sight. And I want to remind you, it is Trump that has the whole thing closed at this point. And when you add on top of this, the drought that is just all across the United States. You can see on the image in the middle here, severe drought is causing major issues. And then you add that the fertilizer is not coming, that 70% of the farmers are not getting the fertilizer they need for this season. This is a catastrophe. Seeing all this happening, you've got to chalk up some kind of plan to stock up on food or have some kind of plan going into the winter ahead. Some are going to say, oh, I'll wait for that later. Well, you better realize what's happening right now before you end up at a store and there's nothing to get, nothing to buy. The water depleted all across the board, and this is all by design. This is a continuation of weather warfare, but one that doesn't get called out as much because it's not storms, it's not flooding, it's nothing that you can really see. The drought creeps up on everyone. And here we're already at a point where it's having devastating impacts. We had hardly no snow in the mountains. You've got droughts all across the board, the Midwest and the plains here. You've got a lack of fertilizer, and you've got a war that's cutting off all the supplies, all in all. That continues. So the warnings are out there. This global supply crunch is going to continue, if you ask me, and I would chalk up a plan. I'd start growing food. It is spring, but again, you're going to...
See, growing food is not going to be enough, man, all right? Because think about it. You really think that the devil is going to allow you to grow food? You really think that Esau is going to allow you to have a farm when he's trying to switch over and take complete control? Nigga, if you got a farm in that day with food and water and livestock, guess what? Somebody coming to take that from you, bro. Okay? Whether it's Esau or whether it's some spirits of vengeance that's gonna come. So growing up, I mean, look, if you got a farm, do what you do. All right, I'm not saying it's wicked to have a farm. I'm not saying that, but if you think that you want to start a farm now and grow food now, but that's going to be your foolproof plan to ride out what's coming, no. You're in the wrong mindset. Okay, you should be of the mindset, you know what, let me just get a few things here and there, and the Lord will provide and protect. That should be your mindset. Okay, but, you have these individuals that come in and say, make sure you stock up 3 years worth of food and water and all this and that. I mean, that's not going to save you. Okay. Yeah, sure. It'll do you some good for a while, but ultimately that's not salvation, because what's coming on this earth is the judgment from the Most High. You see that's the point. What's coming is judgment, man. And if you ain't right with Yahweh Bashmil Shai, then you're going to perish. Simple as that. If you're not right with Yahweh Bashmil Shai in these days, you will perish. There's no other way around it. But furthermore, these are the plagues. All right? And all of the judgment that the Lord has coming on the earth, guess what? A lot of these farms are going to be wiped out anyway. The scriptures speak about hail and the blasting and the hail. Matter of fact, let's get that. All right, because you know what I'm saying, when you consider the judgment of the Lord is going to come down, it's going to be earthquakes, it's going to be tornadoes, it's going to be flooding everywhere. Your farm is not going to hold up in those kind of conditions. All these things are going to be taken away, man. All right. 2nd Ezra 15. Yeah, 2nd Ezra 15 and 12. Egypt shall mourn, which America, Babylon the Great is modern day spiritual Egypt. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Bashmoshai shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail. And right now, the farmers, they catching hell. All right, a lot of them are having to go bankrupt, close down they farm. A lot of them are being bought out by these big corporations, or they're being offed and being forced to sell. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a lot of that going on too. And with a fearful constellation, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So you see, these judgments that the Lord's going to bring on the earth is going to destroy a lot of these crops any damn way. Okay, because ultimately, you know, the Lord is going to leave you with no other avenue but to trust in Him. And if you trust in the world, well, the Lord is going to destroy your morale 100%. Okay, we go to 2nd Ezra 16. It speaks about the plagues and the birth pains, right? This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 36. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it, believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth. Great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. So right now, the earth is going through the labor pains, the birth pains, okay, which is why you see that things are steady increasing and they're not dying down. Because when a woman is going through labor, right, the pain gets more and more intense, all right, the closer that the woman gets to delivering that a child, you know, the pain gets more intense. You see what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? This is where we at now. This is why you're seeing so many earthquakes go on. This is why you're seeing so many tornadoes and tsunamis. And matter of fact, there was an earthquake in Japan just the other day. I think it was a 7.5 earthquake. You know, there was one out there in the Midwest. I forget what state. Now you have reports coming out that the Yellowstone National Park volcano is about to erupt. Okay? So, look, these are the pains, the birth pains that we living through. The earth is crying out because of all the wickedness that's going on, man. And furthermore, the Lord, He's visiting the earth that He made. Verse 39, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. And that's where we at right now. Sorrows are enveloping the earth. Ultimately because wickedness is now being addressed, all right? So we definitely in that time, man, to where all these things that, you know, the prophets have been warning of, all right, these things are coming to pass in today's time. Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, right? Tariffs, war, and now a historic drought have converged into a perfect storm for U.S. farmers and food prices. American farmers entered the spring planting season knowing fertilizer will be more expensive, fuel will be costly, and labor will be short. With the growing season now in full swing, they can add a record-setting drought and scarce water supplies to that list of headaches. Right? They want you to pay for the rest, but you know, you pretty much get the point, man. All these things are destroying the morale of these Babylonians. Okay, and you know, these things they had just happened in America. You know, this is worldwide. To where the farmers are mourning, to where their crops are, you know, failing them. All right? Out there looking just like this. It's judgment, man. You know? And on top of this, the MOTB is coming down the pipe. Revelation 13. And that's why they told you, unless you opt into this, you know, these new biometrics, you ain't going to be able to have access to buy and sell, man. All right, so we see that this beast system, that this mark is getting ready to be fulfilled. And that's when you're going to see, because also, once they bring about the mark, it's not going to take that long, man. Like, probably things are already moving fast already. But once they really go and mandate the mark and say, hey, everyone must have this, all right, that none might buy or sell, as the scriptures say, things are going to move super quick after that. We're going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like we could be out of here in a matter of months. All right, because, hey, once the hour of temptation come, that's it. it's a short period of testing that's going to take place on this earth, man. But it's not going to be some long, drawn out period of time. Like, we're going to be here for another 20, 30 years here with Esau, and he just causing hell on the earth and everything's all fucked up. No. All right? This devil going to implement the MOTB. World War III is going to go nuclear, and then the elect are going to be beamed up. That's what's going to happen. You see? So let me get 2nd Ezra 9 and we can close out. Right? Because, hey, we're in a beautiful time, man. All right? We're in a time that the prophets wish they could have seen in their generation. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I told thee before, pursuing back to the prophecies, the tokens, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest had plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. See? So these effects and signs that are taking place is signals that we're at the end of the world. At the end of whose world? Specifically, Esau. Okay? 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? So this is why you see these devils are raging. They trying to desperately hold on to their hegemony, but it's all gonna fail. Okay, because we want the kingdom to come. The Lord is coming to set up his elect in their proper stead, and this world is done. All right, so all these things that you see happening, man, these things are only going to intensify. Okay, you're going to see a lot more people out here looking like this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close out right there, Lord willing. This lesson has been edifying through the Rakah call Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakah. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect.